Laura Flores Simmons is the Community Impact Team Director, Greater West Region. She's focused on executing Chase's racial equity commitment. Her current cities include and focus on Dallas, Houston, Phoenix, and Seattle. She started her current role in July of 2021. She has worked with Chase and its predecessors for over 26 years. Laura received her BBA from the University of Texas in Austin. Go Longhorns!
Good morning and buenos dias. Wow, wow, and wow is what comes to mind as I finish listening to the comments that we've all had the chance to listen to already this morning. So good morning and buenos dias. I very much appreciate the opportunity to visit with all of you today. And I want to start by just saying congratulations. Congratulations to all of you for taking time to invest in yourself and being here this morning. It's not unusual that females, especially female Hispanic Latinas, invest time in taking care of others, and we deprioritize taking care of ourselves. So want to start off by saying congratulations to you. And I want to also share that as I've gotten older, it's easier for me to understand and to buy into why airlines tell all of us in case of an emergency to put on our own oxygen masks, right? We can't help others if we haven't first helped ourselves. So to me, this is an example of you putting on your oxygen mask this morning to focus on taking care of yourself and putting yourself in a very healthy career and financial health mode to help yourself and then be in a position to help others around you. This is something that you should be very proud of and that you definitely need to celebrate. My name is Laura Flores Simmons, and I am JP Morgan's Community Impact Greater West Lead. I know that's a really long title, and what it really means is that I'm charged in partnering with our local banking leadership teams in Texas, Arizona, and Washington State to execute on our racial equity commitment. The commitment is all about helping to close the racial wealth gap and focusing on the largest drivers of the financial wealth divide that includes homeownership, affordable housing, small business loans to diverse customers, and financial products and services that help Black, Hispanic, and Latino people across the entire economic spectrum continue to build wealth. I share some interesting points in a minute that provides context around why we decided this work was needed. But first, want to share a very quick update in terms of what our commitment is focused on. It's $30 billion. 26 billion of it is focused on affordable housing and home ownership. So the 26 billion is divided in two categories. 12 billion of it is focused on mortgages, 8 billion for new mortgages for approximately 40,000 new homeowners, and then 4 billion to refinance existing mortgages. And we expect that that should allow about 20,000 existing mortgage owners to refinance at lower rates, which will provide them with additional monthly cash flow to use for food and other expenses that obviously are super important. And then the remaining 14 billion of the 26 billion that's focused on homeownership and affordable housing is focused on financing multifamily affordable housing that should provide about 100,000 rental units for families across the country. So 26 billion of the 30 focused on homeownership and affordable housing. 2 billion of the 30 is focused on new loans to Black, Hispanic, and Latino small business owners. So hopefully some of you that are here with us today will have the opportunity to obtain some of that incremental financing from Chase. And then we are challenging ourselves to spend an additional $750 million, again, with Black, Hispanic, and Latino businesses across the country. I had mentioned that there were some statistics that I wanted to share with you to really hone in on why we think this work's important. And let me go to that slide. Okay. I am not going to go through all of these circles, but I am going to point us to 4 of them. And the first one reflects the fact that 73% of Caucasian families own their own home, compared to 47% of Black families and about 43% of Hispanic families. The second data point, which is the fourth bullet on the first row, reflects the fact that 60% of Caucasian small business owners are approved for loans, compared to about 29% Black business owners and 50% Hispanic business owners. The third bullet I'd like to point you to is the first one on the left, on the bottom left, and that reflects the fact that 79% of Caucasian families earn approximately 79% of total wages, compared to about 10% by Black families and 8% by Hispanic families. That one data point there, I think, really points to the great work and the focus that Power on Heels is focused on, right? Helping us learn how to earn more, especially as a female Hispanic Latina. The fourth bullet that I'd like to point you to is the third one on the bottom row, which reflects the fact that 3% of Caucasian families are unbanked or lack access to financial services, compared to about 17% of Black families and 15% of Hispanic families. So those four bullets, along with all the other data points and a lot more that are not even on this page, translates to roughly about 85% of our country's total wealth is currently held by Caucasian households, and about 7% is owned by Black and Hispanic families. That's a pretty big divide. And that very much is pointing us to the need for us to be more proactive and more assertive, and really looking at how can we make a difference. We are very optimistic about the fact that our $30 billion racial equity commitment will help more Black, Hispanic, and Latino families become homeowners and grow their businesses, and thus lead them to continue to build wealth for themselves and their family. I'm having the opportunity to visit with you today because of my leadership in executing on this work, but I'd like to now jump over and share a little bit about my personal story and really tie that back to why I'm super excited about getting to work on this. So I am a first-generation Mexican American. My family is from Mexico, and I grew up in the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas. So for those of you that are familiar with the Valley, I grew up in Mission. My parents had 6th and 7th grade educations. My father was a construction worker, and my mother was a hotel housekeeper. And she then transitioned and finished her career as a cook in the high school that I graduated from. They were a model of just hard work and really feeling like if you work hard, that hard work will get recognized. They were really great examples, I think, for me and my siblings. Our family grew up on welfare, and we grew up in government housing. These facts, though, didn't really seem like a big deal to me because everyone around me, frankly, looked and was living very much just like our family was. I didn't realize that there was a different reality that might be possible. So that fact set didn't really bother me. My parents were very, very focused on education. They didn't push us to work, but they pushed us to work in school. So they made school our jobs. So my success in school led me to receiving an academic scholarship to UT in Austin. I have a really bad memory, but I do remember filling out financial aid forms back in 1994, and remember filling out $8,000 as the family income for a family of 6. As my family thought about success, for us, success really was about getting into college, getting a college degree. We didn't really spend time talking about what a college degree really meant, what we could do with that college degree. And we didn't do that or have those conversations because we didn't have people around us. We didn't have family. We didn't have friends that could really provide advice and guidance on how to think about it. So frankly, my plan was to get the degree and move back to South Texas. And then frankly, once I got there, would then figure out what I was going to do with that degree. So So I graduated in 1995, and now I want to jump over to some key learnings, right? So how do you go from growing up in South Texas on welfare and government housing, and how do you start working on building financial flexibility for yourself and for your family? There's 5 key things really that come to mind as I think about the last 26 years as I started my career. So now let me jump over to the next page. Okay, and here I am back. Okay, so 5 key learnings over 26 years. And there's a heck of a lot more, but these were kind of some of the top ones that jumped to my mind. Look around, look for and surround yourself with people that can help you dream big. So as my mom used to tell me, and I imagine a lot of your parents and family have told you guys before, dime con quién andas y yo te digo quién eres. Tell me who you hang with and I will tell you who you are. I very much believe that that's true. So look for and surround yourself with people that can help you dream big, that can see potential in you and push you to see it for yourself. People that are a step or 2 or 10 ahead of you and that are moving in a positive direction. Challenge yourself to think that could be me, which then leads to the next question of how do I make it happen? For me, a very key early example that comes to my mind is my husband, Mike. We started dating my senior year in college, and he asked me what I planned to do with my finance degree. Nobody had ever asked me that before. My answer to him was, I have no clue. But I was inspired by the fact that he already knew he wanted to work for an accounting firm. So he was a couple of steps ahead of me, which got us to have a lot of conversations about how I needed to be thinking about moving forward. So I started learning about the advantages of working with the recruiting office, started learning about the advantage of going to networking events, started learning about what a finance degree, what kind of jobs people get with finance degrees, and started interviewing for banking internships. But frankly, the most important lesson that I learned in that process was understanding and getting affirmation that yes, even a poor Hispanic girl from the Valley had the opportunity to do and have a great career. I just needed to know that I could look for it, and I needed to believe that I was actually worthy and could do it. So learned that lesson, thankfully, kind of while I was still in college, and gave me the opportunity to start thinking about what I wanted to do as I graduated. So finding role models, mentors, and allies has really been key to my enjoyment and my success in moving into new roles and leaderships at the firm. These individuals continue to push me to think beyond what I'm currently doing and to continue to push me to think about what I might be doing and how I prepare myself for that. The second key lesson that I've learned is that we are not stuck in the financial condition we grow up in. However, it does require us to change the lens that we look at our financial situation through, and it requires a lot of discipline and a lot of hard work, really to change the financial reality, again, for yourself and for your family. I graduated college with college loans, credit card loans, and a wedding loan, so about $20,000 in total. I graduated, got a financial analyst job with Chase, and the first thing that I got excited about is that now I could buy myself a new car. So yay, a new car loan, right, to add to all the other loan debts that I already had. The thought did not faze me, but it definitely fazed my husband. This led us to have a lot of conversations about how much we could spend on a used car and still have money left to repay the loans we had. Hard decisions on how to use every single one of our dollars to pay down high interest loans to create financial flexibility for the future. And frankly, the most important part was being able to sleep at night. We didn't figure out how to do that on our own. We spent a lot of time reading and a lot of time studying on financial health and diving into different resources. So really would recommend the same for you. You don't have to learn it and do it alone. There's a lot of great resources out there available to you. we learned a key part of it was learning that a budget was instrumental, right? We had to get our arms around how much money was coming in and how much money had to go out. And we did that in the form of what I call a refrigerator budget. And it literally was a piece of paper that we had on our refrigerator. And it included our weekly budget. And every day, each of us would come home and we would put on there how much we spent for gas, how much we spent for lunch, how much we spent for parking. And every week, we just had a very, very easy way to track how we were doing against what we had said we needed to do. So would recommend also that I can tell you it wasn't fun and it very much felt painful along the way. And then it started feeling a lot better when we started seeing that it was working and that we were creating excess funds, again, to use to pay down loans and to give us the opportunity to start saving for a house, which we had decided was really, really important for us. We also learned through doing that financial health studying and research that contributing and taking advantage of our 401k plans was really important. We also learned that it made sense for us to raise money that we earned in raises, money that we might have gotten for bonuses, instead of really focusing on increasing the cost of living. We really focused on using that money again to save for our house, to pay down our debt, and really tried to be thoughtful about not creating a bigger life, but really focused on creating wealth and creating financial flexibility for ourselves. So I can tell you, while you're doing it and you're in the middle of it and you're figuring it out, it doesn't feel like a lot of fun. But when you look back and you see what you're building, then it starts to feel like fun. And day by day, you start to feel the impact of creating financial flexibility for you and your family. The third key lesson that I've learned is how to advocate for myself, right? As you progress through your career, you have the opportunity to earn more money. Well, we have to get good at advocating for ourselves. So I have learned that it's my job to help my managers understand the great work that I'm doing and the value that I add. It's my job to help my manager understand that I'm focused on doing a great job and that I'm expecting to be financially rewarded for doing a great job. It's my job to help my manager understand what I want to do next and to ask for their help in me preparing the skill set to get me there. It's also my job to ask for their help and to help them recognize that financial incentives are important. Those conversations can feel awkward, but I can tell you that people are having them, your peers are having them, and it's important for you to get comfortable having them too. I've learned that no matter how much my managers care about my career, nobody cares about my career as much as I do. And so it's my job to own my career growth and my plan. And that means I need to take time to think about what I want to do next and to ask myself, how am I going to make it happen? Then having managers and allies, bringing them into the conversation to help you make it happen. A fourth key lesson, and I think, again, females do this all the time to ourselves, do not make the world smaller for yourself. There are plenty of people that are already trying to do that for you. Don't tell yourself that you can't apply for a role because of X, Y, and Z. Don't sell yourself short. When I begin to doubt myself as being ready or being the best person for a new role, I pushed myself to think about the last time that I failed at something. I've stumbled, I've messed up, I've learned along the way, and sometimes it might have taken me 3 months, 6 months, a year to really feel like I'm doing a great job of something, but I've never failed. And it's just a great reminder to myself that if I haven't failed before, why would I doubt myself with this new role and scare myself from leaning in and jumping into it? So I've really learned how to be the first person to tell myself to go for it, that I can do it and that I will do a great job at it. And you know what? It's always worked. So just continue to focus on making the world bigger for yourself versus making it smaller. And lastly, Take time each year to stop and assess where you're at. Ask yourself the following questions. Am I enjoying what I'm doing? Am I learning? Am I taking care of my health? What do I want to focus on in the next 12 months? What are my financial goals? When I look back a year from now, what will make me say, I did a great job for myself in the last year? Then take time to develop a plan to make it happen. What steps do you need to take weekly and monthly to get there? Getting to the future you want and the wealth that you're wanting to build takes thought, strategy, and work. It doesn't happen by luck or accident. You have to take time at least annually to think about where you want to go and what you need to do to prepare yourself to get there. So these are 5 key things as I think about the different opportunities I've had and the career progression that I've had that has then tied into, after 26 years at Chase, I'm still very much amazed by the opportunities and the very different financial place that I have found myself and my family in turn also, versus where we started back in Mission years ago. So this opportunity for me to work on the racial equity commitment is very personal to me because frankly, it feels like I'm having the opportunity to help families like mine 30 years ago, 40 years ago, create a very different financial future for themselves. So my path has included focusing on having tough conversations with my managers about the importance of me getting paid equitably. My path has included focusing on understanding and learning about financial health, leading me to paying down high interest loans and saving for a house. And I know the work that I'm doing now will be helping other families as well. I want to close by pointing you to some resources. Let me move over to that now. And provide some resources that I think from a financial education perspective will just be great for you to dive into. The first one is just the link to the racial equity commitment, provides just great content around the work we're doing. But then most importantly, if you're thinking of buying a new home, would encourage you to go to our Chase Home Lending Program site. There's calculators and just really great information to help you think about everything you need to be thinking about in terms of, is this the right time for you to buy a home? If you're a small business owner here today, would encourage you to learn more about the program and the mentorship opportunities that we have available and our supplier diversity program. And then for all of you, would encourage you to spend time in the financial health module, again, to help you think about different important topics as you think about building wealth. And then lastly, I included a link to our career website just as a plea to say that we need more female, Latinas, and Hispanic individuals in banking. So we need you. So would really encourage you to think about it. And yes, you can do it. I know that these are all Chase resources. And I know that all of the other financial institutions have great resources as well. Just encourage you, again, to take time and dive into different financial health tools that can help you think about how to build wealth. Thank you all so much for your time, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.